Hello, 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 dreamers. Bella here, as always. Thank you for all your love and support. Thank you for liking, sharing, subscribing to the channel. And if you haven't done so, go ahead and do so. We would love to have you. So, this is going to be the weekly collective reading for everyone. Alrighty, so take a deep breath in, release any expectation, and allow the message to come through. Alrighty. Okay. Alrighty. Um, the question here is more of like, when are you, when are you gonna stop? And if this word triggers you, it is not the intention. But I think this is how great, like, how strong the message needs to come across. How much longer are you going to violate your own boundaries to accommodate other people or a specific person? This week the focus is more on learning to be okay with saying no and learning to be okay with standing your ground. Some of you have deal with this issue of guilt whenever you say no to somebody, or if you can't help somebody right away or something of that matter. And there is a sense here that needs to be released, that needs to be let go of. That is a part that needs to go through that transformation space, that needs to die. Death has to come to that part of you, because my love, you keep on accommodating either one specific person or a group of people, but you're doing it at the cost of you. Always remember that every time you say yes to something, you're saying no to something else. And people may call you selfish, people may call you whatever, but you should always, if I have to choose between saying yes to myself or to somebody else, I'm gonna be completely honest with you. I'm gonna say yes to myself. I mean, unless it has something to do like with my dogs, because them kids are old enough already, right? But what I'm trying to say is that you have set certain boundaries when it comes to different dynamics, whether this is at work, whether this is in your personal life. And you seem to stay on track for like about 2 or 3 days, and then you stop, you cave, you give in. There's definitely some type of manipulation here that tricks you into caving. So somebody again may be using, certain words or certain tactics, like, oh, you're so selfish, oh, you're so full of yourself, oh, you only think about yourself, oh, you. And it's like, you really need to stop, first of all, identifying or allowing somebody else to tell you who you are. If you are living your life fully based on people's opinion or their perception of you at that moment in time, then you don't really know who you are. You really don't know what it is that you want, where it is that you're going. You're living for others. And that needs to stop. You need to stop worrying so much about what so and so is going to say, what, who gives a fuck? Like that's just like completely honestly. It's like, who gives a fuck? And like, I know that I sound like I'm getting angry, but that's pretty much like how your spirit feels right now. It's like, yo, like, how many fucking times do I have to tell you, like, stop? Like, it's like the minute that you break that boundary or you violate that boundary that you have set, you can feel it in your nervous system. You can feel it. And it's like, it doesn't matter how much work you're doing to regulate your nervous system when it comes to like meditation, when it comes to workout, when it comes to eating clean, when it comes to, taking medicines for this or doing all these rituals and all these cleanses and all this other thing. If the behavior is not changed, nothing has happened. You continue to operate in the same space, in the same frequency, my love. To become aware, right? So like, first you become aware, okay, I am violating this boundary, and I need to get back on track to to showing up for myself, to really honor the boundaries that I set, right? And then, yeah, you can go do a bath, do a cleanse, light up a candle, do this, do some yoga, do some meditation, do everything. And then when the opportunity presents itself, regardless of what the person is saying or the people are saying, regardless of how somebody's trying to guilt trip you, how somebody's trying to make you, persuade you into like doing whatever it is, you stand your ground. And the minute that you do that is when you start to see the change. Something inside of you changes. And again, this is something that is not new. I'm not saying something that you don't know here, my love. I'm being completely honest with you. It is some of you are waiting for this magical way or this, something from the heavens or whatever to come down and stop you. But it is coming down. It is coming down through your spirit. It's coming down through the clarity. It's coming down through the channeling. But you are choosing. You are choosing to ignore it. You are choosing to continuously ignore your own boundaries to accommodate other people, and that needs to stop. Now, for those of you that this is in regards to like a relationship or something like that, I keep on hearing somebody here wants to keep the peace, whether it is that you have kids with an ex, whether it is that you have kids, dogs, whatever it is, somebody here, or maybe you live with somebody and you're trying to keep the peace until you leave. I completely get that. But allowing yourself to continuously violate your own boundaries over somebody else to accommodate somebody else is only teaching them that they are more important to you than you are to yourself. They have a greater value in your life than you do to yourself. So, what are they going to do? They're not going to hold back. They're just going to continue on pressing and pushing and pushing and pushing because they know that they can get you to violate your own boundaries. So, the one that has to take the action here, the one that has to stand their ground, it is you. It is you, and it's just that simple. And I know again that some of you are like, well, I don't care what you want to know right now, and I'm being completely honest, and I'm not trying to sound like a bitch or anything like that. What the message that is coming through right now is something that you really need to pay attention to, because you keep asking yourself, well, why am I stuck? Why am I not progressing? I feel like I manifest this little and then everything freaking shuts down, and I feel like I'm moving forward and then everything. Well, my love, it is a loop, the frequency loop that you have kept yourself in by continuously doing this. And when I say accommodate other people, I'm not talking about like, okay, hey, somebody had an emergency and you're like, okay, yeah, it's fine, let's reschedule, whatever. No, I'm talking about somebody that continuously, like, this is day in and day out, that if they're supposed to show up for something, that if they're supposed to show up in a certain way, or they're supposed to whatever it is, that you are going to have to accommodate them because they're not showing up the way that they're supposed to, whether this is financially, emotionally, physically, I do not care. But it is a repetitive pattern, my love, and that is where your attention, your focus needs to be. Like, why is it that you continue to stay in these cycles longer than you should? It is not lack of awareness. It is not lack of awareness because you are aware of it. To be honest with you, this is a lot of this has to do with lack of discipline, of sticking with it. Lack of discipline. And when I say discipline is the fact that for some of you, like, you go like a couple of weeks, you go a couple of months doing whatever it is that spirit has you doing, whether that's meditating, whether that's prayer, whatever it is, and then it's like you get to a point where you're like, oh, I'm perfect, I don't have to do this anymore, and then you start backtracking. You hold your boundaries for like 3 or 4 weeks, and then you start backtracking. You exercise for 3 or 4 weeks, and then you start backtracking. You start learning something, you start reading something for 2 weeks, and you start backtracking. So there is, there has to be this moment where it clicks to you that spirituality does not mean the absence of discipline. For a lot of you, you guys are in the space believing that being free spirited and this and this and that is a lack of discipline. No, my love. No, 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 no. You have to get out of that little loop. You have to be disciplined with yourself. You want change, you want things to move forward, you want this lifestyle, you want this, you want to be free, you want to heal from this, you want to heal from that, you want to release this, you have to be disciplined. When spirit says this is what you're doing, this is how you're doing it, you listen. Some of you are still stuck in a cycle of running away from something that you haven't faced. And 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 whatever this is that you haven't faced is what keeps on allowing other people to manipulate you into spaces that cause you, I shouldn't say cause, I'm going to retract that, that then enables you because it is an enabling energy that you are enabling to violate your own boundaries. All right, let's go ahead and see. You can say, and I'm going to be completely honest with you, you can do everything that you want to do like practically, or you can do everything that you want to do spiritually, but until the two don't coexist simultaneously, you're going to continuously find yourself going back and forth within these spaces of um constantly like backtracking between moving forward and stepping back. And what I mean by that is like everything that if everything that you do on a day-to-day life, on a day-to-day, there should be the influence of your spirituality, the influence of your spirit should be behind it, right? So like let's say here I have a cup of water with some lemon and cucumber. As I was cutting the lemon, as I was cutting the cucumber, I was speaking life into it. As I was filling up the cup with water, I was speaking life into it. That is what it means at its basic simple, right? I'm speaking into everything. So that is the spirit, that is the spirituality aspect of seriously like filling up a cup of water, right? And it is something that I don't have to force myself to do. It is not some, it is something that just happens. But why does it happen? Because at one point, I had to be disciplined enough to remind myself every single time that I went to fill up a cup of water. Remind yourself to speak into that water. Remind yourself, and you know how it happened? It happened where I would write notes for myself. I would leave notes in front of the fridge, like to again to fall into that discipline. Now, again, to some of you this is going to seem extreme or whatever it is. If it is, then it's not for you, right? You figure out how you go through with it, right? For me, usually doing something for like 2 or 3 days, it clicks into my brain and it just becomes a pattern. It just becomes, right? So for some of you it may take a little longer. Excuse me, for some of you it may take a little longer, for some of you it may take a little less, but there is an aspect here of bringing the spirituality aspect of your life into your practical. You need to stop separating the two, because the thing is that a lot of you are trying to separate the two. And the more that you try to separate it, the more that you find yourself in these spaces where you're just stuck in these loops of like just doing the same freaking shit over and over, just on a different day. There was one, I don't know who it was that said there are people that live, what was the quote? I think she said, I think I believe they said there are people that live to be 90, like 90 years old, and there are people that live the same day for 90 years. A person that lives 90 years has experience, has evolved. Every day is different. And then the person that lives the same day, one day for 90 years, they're stuck in a loop and they don't know how to get themselves out of it. And a lot of the time is like some of you want to go to the extreme when it comes to like your spirituality, and then the discipline just wither. And I know you're probably asking, well, Perla, you were talking about us violating our boundaries. What does that have to do with discipline? Again, you have to be disciplined in how it is that you show up for yourself on a daily basis. When you wake up, what is it that you do? Do you freaking grab the phone and start scrolling right away? Or do you speak life into the space that you're waking up into? Do you give thanks for waking up? Do you thank your spiritual team? Whatever it is that you believe in. I'm not here to tell you what to believe in. I'm here to just give you the messages that are coming through as to what it is that you are seeking is already inside of you, if you just allow yourself to receive the message, if you allow yourself to listen. When I say listen, it's not just about your ears, it's about your physical senses, your smell, your taste. Spirit is constantly, continuously sending you signals, speaking to you, showing you things. And unfortunately, you're here too busy worrying about what other people are going to think if you do this or if you do that. All right, dude. Anything else that the collective needs to hear? That makes sense. Whatever it is that been you have been running away from, or that you haven't wanted to, you didn't want to address when it came to shadow works. Some of you have a sour taste when it comes to shadow. Excuse me, shadow work. Shadow work is a broad statement. Is the way that I want to put it. Shadow work can be extremely painful and extremely hard and very dark and etc. And it can be as simple as like, ooh, that triggered me. And being like, why did that trigger me? Where did that wound start? Now, when I say that, we're not suppressing it, we're not avoiding it. We're approaching that trigger with curiosity to see where it is that it lands. and where that original wound or whatever trauma, whatever you want to call it, started, so that then we can address it and we can integrate it. Because again, this is not about erasing parts of ourselves. This is about transmuting what is already inside of us to allow us to become the version of ourselves that we so desire to be. And how do you know what version of yourself you desire to be? Look at the people that you connect with, or look at the parts of the people that you connect with, the people that you admire, the people that you love, the people that you care for. Those are all reflections of things that live in you that are waiting to come out. So like it may be very easy for you to be like, oh my god, you're so pretty, but then when you look in the mirror you don't see it. And it's like that part of you wants you to speak to yourself in that way. But until the wound that is not allowing you to see that in yourself is addressed, you can say it 100 times in front of the mirror, but it's never going to land. And there's always going to be hesitation with saying it. So this is where the shadow work comes in. It's like, okay, if this is triggering me, or if I'm doing this, why? And that curiosity of allowing that wound to show starts to change everything. And then you stop running away. And then you actually look forward to shadow work. And I'll share something that happened to me the other day. I was um I was watching a show with one of my kids, and after we were done, I sat in my bed, and this was like out of anything. Like again, when spirit talks, I listen, and I sat straight up, and I crossed my legs, and I put my hands on my heart, and I start sobbing like so freaking hard. One of the kids comes in, and they're like, "Are you okay?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And then they're like, "Okay," and they walk away. Now again, my kids are so like it's a norm for them, like the spiritual purging and things like that. And I must have cried for like 2 or 3 minutes, and then as fast as it came, it left. And I sat there in curiosity, and I'm like, what the heck was that? What was that? And that was it, right? And I let it be, and I went on with my day. And I want to say that evening, I was doing some work, and I was talking to a client. And as I'm talking to a client, I can hear the message like, hey, remember when you cried earlier today for like 2 minutes? This is what was finally released, transmuted, and reintegrated. And I just started laughing. I just had like the biggest smile. My client's like, what's happening? I was like, oh no, something just came. Don't worry about it. And it's like that is the way, or that is how it can be if you're disciplined in the beginning with not running away from things. If you're disciplined in standing in your truth and standing in what it is that spirit wants for you. All right, so let's go ahead and let's close out this reading with an oracle card. We are using the Halloween oracle. So give me one card, spirit, to close down this reading. One card. Oh, love, 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 love. Cauldron, synergy and healing. Let's see what the thing says real quick. I actually want to I actually want to get a cauldron, like a solid black one. Where all things come together under pressure. Flow, flow for synergy. Excuse me. Flow for synergy. All right, I'm gonna start that over. Where all things come together under pressure. Flow for synergy. A new thing is created. A crucible and infinity. Um, and then behind it, because like this was behind it, we have the money. Change. See, change. Okay, it's here. Synergy, healing, and change. But you have to be disciplined in these steps and in these spaces. You have to stay disciplined and you have to stay true to yourself. Stop violating your own boundaries. And this can look as simple as like, okay, tomorrow morning at 5:30 a.m. I'm gonna wake up and I'm gonna exercise. And then at 5:30 somebody calls you and it's like, oh, um, I completely forgot there was no school today and I don't have a babysitter. Can you watch my kid? And it's like, so you dropped the ball on not knowing your own kid's schedule and it has to fall on me. And I know that's going to sound extreme to some people, but it's like My love, if this is the 10th time you're doing it this school year, nah, call out of work because I'm working out at 5:30 in the morning. And you can call me a bitch for that, but I am sorry. I am not here to pick up on other people's slacks or other people's lack of awareness in their own life. And that is what I'm talking about when it comes to this space where you're continuously violating your own boundaries to accommodate other people. Not today, not tomorrow, not ever, my love. Alrighty, guys. As always, sending every single one of you love, strength, and blessing, guys. Take care. Love you all. Mwah. Bye bye.